Polaris in the comic books recently is depicted with her coffee. Like, what is your ideal morning coffee situation?
When I do drink coffee, it's a black coffee hot with one Splenda. And I believe that's also what Lorna would drink in real life.
A Daddy Cable.
Daddy Cable. I would love that. I would love it.
Shout out to the Powers of X-Men podcast.
Hottest writers at Marvel Comics right now.
The Pretender's death, like be.
Right, familia, Power of X-Men, we're with. Do you love Power of X-Men?
I love Power of X-Men. Of course I do. Do I? Yes, I do.
What's up, familia? Dayspring here with a really fun and exciting episode, Power of X-Men. We have one of my BFFs, so we can talk about Deadpool 3. Wolver Steve!
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm so excited to be talking to you, but this mask is kind of throwing me off now that I'm thinking of it.
I did say to you, didn't I? I've spent many hours wearing things like that at Comic Cons, and yeah, it can be slightly interfering.
You are my favorite Wolverine cosplayer. I love all of your Wolverine vibes. Your Twitter presence is next level. I feel like if I have any questions on going on that's happening with Deadpool 3, I just go to your Twitter feed or your Insta feed, and like all my questions are answered instantaneously.
That's right, certainly. I mean, what is it now? 278 days I've counted down from my birthday last year when Mr. Jackman announced he was coming out of retirement to now. Every single day, and obviously that countdown since we spoke was going to be a lot longer, but all the Marvel films got adapted, didn't they, dates wise, except this bad boy that got adapted the right way and brought forward 6 months. So all I've got left is 304 days to count down as it stands.
Wait, does this tell it? Oh, it's in May. It's May 2024 when it's coming out, right?
Yes, as it stands it is, yeah.
So it's interesting. It's probably that good of a script or that good of a production that Marvel thinks it can kick off the summer blockbuster season.
I think so. I think there's a lot of sense to bring it forward. November was always a little bit odd anyway, I thought, winter time, etc. But yeah, I think so. It's good. It's an absolute juggernaut of a movie with two absolute. You can't get bigger than them, in my opinion. Deadpool, Wolverine, finally properly together. Not the little shooted cameo at the end of Deadpool 2, as good as that was. Certainly not X-Men Origins Wolverine and whatever it was, Baraka. But yeah, that aside, this is going to be the proper one. Finally.
I'm so excited. Well, it's supposed to be the No Way Home of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm so happy because we thought Doctor Strange would be the No Way Home of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it wasn't. It has to be something like Deadpool 3. And, we're going to discuss all the rumors and who could potentially show up and all that stuff. But I wanted to say, I think for Marvel recently, they've been taking a hit that, there's been this air quote superhero fatigue going on. But the exception to the rule is Deadpool 3. Everyone is so excited for this movie. There's so much anticipation for it. And it's just like, you can just tell that everyone's just waiting for it. And I really hope they get it right. I hope they get it right. I hope it's not going to be a misfire.
I agree. I don't want 100%, and I've said it from 27th September to now, 100%. Our main man, Jackman, he is wearing this proper yellow suit. I've no doubt. No, I'm just certain he's going to wear it. It doesn't want to be a joke. It doesn't want to be a piss take version of it. It wants to look badass, and it's got to be seriously put in there. And that is the pinnacle, I think, that makes everybody excited for it. As much as everybody loves Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, that's what's getting people excited, in my opinion. Certainly what I'm excited for. I've seen all these rumours endlessly now, daily. And yeah, they're good, they're exciting. Take some with a pinch of salt, some will be brilliant. But what it still boils back to is one, Hugh Jackman, two, the mask, three, the suit.
Yeah, it has to be. He has to be wearing it. I mean, we saw it at the end of the Wolverine when he got the costume and he opened it up, and we never got proper follow up to that. That to me is baffling. It was like the biggest misfire. And like, I don't want to discredit what the X-Men films did back in the day, which is like they had to bring dignity to the superhero genre because before it was like Batman and Robin, which I do personally like that movie. But it did come to a point that the MCU kind of sped past them and made those kind of superhero outfits cool. And there was no doubt that Hugh Jackman could wear a version of a cool superhero outfit that was reminiscent of the comics.
I've tweeted a bit of fan art over the last few months as well, including one today. And all it is fan art. You know, it looks like it's probably been tweaked a little with AI, of course. But the excitement on my posts, even for that, people are just buzzing from it. So when we actually get to see the proper one, which we will, well before the film comes out, because you know the way the world works, there'll be somebody sneaking in there with a camera, possibly even someone from Marvel doing it on purpose. Who knows? But that it has to happen. Obviously, we got that little tease at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, where they finally got the other X-Men got the proper suits, and they looked amazing. And while I understand why the X-Men wore the black stuff in 2000 and onwards, it should have evolved better by now, all this time, 23 years later. We should have had them now. It's going to happen finally, I'm certain, in this film. And going forward then with whatever variants or versions of all the X-Men characters are coming.
Well, it's so interesting you said that. First of all, I can't believe it's been over 2 decades since the first X-Men film came out. I mean, that is definitely aging us. It's like mind blowing. I was working at PacSun back in 2000 when it came out, but I agree with you. For me, like the end of X-Men Apocalypse, Fox always kind of baffled me, like whoever their executives were, because at the X-Men Apocalypse wasn't a great movie, but what made people really excited was Jean manifesting the Phoenix and that ending scene with all of them in their proper 90s costume. Why didn't that spill over to Dark Phoenix, right? I mean, Dark Phoenix had so many problems, but you would think for the costuming, they would have solved that. And I get it. It was an allusion to the Morrison team, you know, and I love Morrison very much, but like we already got the black costumes. We already got the standard black costume for everyone. We wanted those individualized outfits, and you know, we never did.
I know it's a crime on superhero movies, really, because the Avengers have long proved that they can do this.
That's true,
and it looks legit. They have reasons to wear them. You know, yellow spandex. Yes, I fucking would get some yellow spandex.
Someone get Hugh Jackman yellow spandex right now.
Cosplayers can do it to a phenomenal level nowadays, way better than even the likes of me. And I like to think I'm pretty good with it, but way better than me. So surely Marvel can do it. Surely, and this is it. This is the one. This is Hugh Jackman's proper send-off. As much as Logan is incredible, we need this. I need this.
Listen, I think the world needs this right now, given how upside down everything appears to be. We just need Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3, and I think we should discuss some of the rumors that are circulating out there, and you'll be the one to be like, oh, maybe this one has more weight than the other, but to give folks at home the proper warning, nothing has been officially released by Marvel. Correct. Other than we know Hugh Jackman's returning. So everything, take it with what did you say? A pinch of salt?
Yeah. Take it with a pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt. So take it with a pinch of salt. And all right, Wolver Steve, tell us, what are some of the rumors you've been hearing, and let's break them down.
A lot of the character rumors, ultimately, isn't it? Plus the supposed leaked plot. Now, I sent you a screenshot of that, if you recall, the other week when it first appeared. And in fairness, if that's the plot, it's going to be pretty damn spectacular. Um, how many of those characters will appear in it? I don't know. It doesn't need too many. I agree with what you said about the multiverse of madness. This is the X-Men version of of it. But we don't need to cram it with too many people. There's the most bizarre rumor currently, I think, is Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Really? I didn't know there was a Ben. No, Ben Affleck's not going to do that. I don't
Well,
think so.
rumors he's been seen on set. He might just be having a visit. Who knows? I quite like that Daredevil film.
I did not hate it. I did not hate it. I agree, and I'll take it a step further. I didn't hate the Elektra film either.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I haven't seen it since it came out. Don't get me wrong. I haven't seen it since it came out, so I probably will have a different opinion of it like 20 years later. But I definitely did not dislike. Oh, I did love. I saw that Daredevil film multiple times in theater and at home.
Same. And Bullseye, Colin Farrell. It was amazing.
Um, Jennifer Garner as Elektra for what it was in the early aughts to Evanescence. It's a moment.
Yeah.
That's a moment in history.
Definitely. But why do they need to be in this film? In my opinion,
well,
only
here's
for a cheap nod to something. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing that I didn't like about Multiverse of Madness. Multiverse of Madness had no multiverse in it, right? So I wouldn't like if you're going to tell me are Daredevil and Elektra from the Fox movies going to be in it. Is Deadpool jumping from universe to universe, and then one of them just happens to have Deadpool and Elektra and Daredevil, and he's here like, huh, this is a failed movie. Next, I don't mind that.
Right.
If he goes through Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, I really would be okay with those level of cameos. I don't need them central to the plot. But I think that was one of the misfires of Multiverse of Madness when America and Strange were like kind of jumping through universes. They were just like nonsensical universes, like watercolors and different like shades. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This was your opportunity to do cameos, and they didn't. So I would like them as split-second cameos.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't mean anything ultimately. And I think all these rumored people, such as the Fantastic Four from the Fox films, they've all too. I can see that. I can see the Fantastic Four more than Daredevil. Then the other one is Channing Tatum's Gambit, obviously from the failed attempt to throw him out there in the movie verse. They're the biggest ones. Ultimately, that I think probably could be nonsense. However, I'd still be very confident of that lot. The Channing Tatum one will happen, and that'll be. I think he'll look cool as fuck. They'll do something to make him look really cool, but it'll still be a cheap gag ultimately.
Yeah, I think like I 100% agree with you. I definitely think that Channing Tatum is going to be there. I've seen a lot of people post that recently, and I'm just like, well, where's the source? They're like, he's on set. I'm like, but there's no official source here. It's still just classified as a rumor. But I think he's a safe bet to be on there. I would be really shocked if he doesn't do it because it's funny. It's a gag. It's kind of like John Krasinski as Reed Richards. It's sort of there. I don't want him to be the Gambit in the MCU, but I'm okay with him being a multiverse Gambit with self-awareness from Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, yeah, definitely, and I think that's pretty much a shoo-in. The more curious ones, which seem fairly essential to most plots that have been mentioned, is obviously Professor X, Magneto. I think that's a safe bet. Storm, we've all seen Halle Berry with her cool silver hair again.
Oh, I know. That blew up my feed. I did a collab post with No More Mutants when she posted that. And literally, it's my most liked photo ever on any social media platforms. And I'm like, okay. There was a time when people did not like Halle Berry, when people were cheering when she was killed in Days of Future Past. I was in the Times Square cinema and Bryan Singer was behind us, and the entire theater erupted in applause when Storm died.
Oh no, that saddens me. That I liked her as Storm. But I agree, this probably could have been others, but I don't know. I grew up with it. I liked it, and I that scene in particular. I thought, no, they can't kill Storm. By the way, That's when we should have already seen Hugh Jackman in a mask fighting one of them future Sentinels. That would have been perfect.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I really would have loved that.
A helmet, a mask, or whatever. That would have been it, in my opinion. But it's been done, gone. It's still an incredible movie. That. Back to where I was though. Yeah, Professor X, Storm, Magneto. God, I hope Sabretooth. A good Sabretooth.
Which Sabretooth? Tyler Mane or oh my god, why am I
Uh,
blanking on his name? What's his name? Colin.
right, Leave or Liev. I'm sure it's Leave though. Him.
I saw well, I was gonna call him Cotton Weary, which is his scream name. But I saw him with his wife at the time, Naomi, at Crate and Barrel in Soho, and I took a photo with him. So like somewhere in my Facebook, I have a photo with him from like 2008.
Cool. Oh well, I'd like to see that. You'll have to dig that out. I hope he's in it. I don't know why, just because I'm the Super Wolverine fan, I suppose. But him as well as Daphne Keene's Laura
Daphne
X-23.
Keene needs to come back.
Yeah.
And she looks perfect for an adult, I mean, she's not an adult. I mean, but like early 20s. I mean, I guess she is early 20s, X-23, Laura, Wolverine, however they want to do it. I love her so much. I want to see her. She was perfect for the role.
Not sacrificing Logan Wolverine. I don't want that, and I would hope I'm not on my own. I love both. We've had this chat actually.
Oh, we have. I love both too.
You've got to have Logan Wolverine going forward, whether it's Hugh Jackman or whoever. You can't not have him, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. You can't not have Hugh Jackman Wolverine or Logan Wolverine in general, but you can have Laura Wolverine, you can have Dakin Wolverine, and that would look so. Do you say Dakin or Dakin? How do you pronounce it?
Well, my comic book guy faithfully calls him Dakin, but I just think it sounds better. It sounds more vicious for the kind of character he is.
Dakin. Yeah, I say Dakin, but however it's pronounced, I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I love the idea of Wolverine is that I love the Wolverine family. I really do. And I think Laura and Dakin were great additions to the mythos. It could have gone south. It really could have, but it didn't. They were characters that stood on their own right, and I'm glad.
Yeah, you're right. And finally, they were the two that really did stand out and hit the mark properly, because they tried a few times in the past in the comics. There was Rena, wasn't there? Do you recall her?
Oh, yeah.
With Psylocke, that was their daughter, but that she looked good. Wild Thing, she was cool name, worked, but didn't quite take off. And then there's all these other Jimmy Hudsons and other spin-offs, and even Gabby to a degree. Take it or leave it for me. I'm not fussed.
I think Gabby, the only time I really liked Honey Badger was during Tom Taylor's run. I think he wrote a really good Honey Badger that I haven't seen yet. But again, I mean, listen, I'm looking at that with rose-tinted eyes because that stars our God Queen, Jean Grey. So I was very happy with that series in general. But yeah, so I think one of the rumors there's a scooper I follow called Grace Randolph who does Beyond the Trailer. Are you aware of her?
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter at least.
She has been pretty confident that James Marston has gone in and had talks to return as Cyclops.
I hope so.
I hope so too. And in like 90s costume, I think he looks great, perfect age, great 90s Cyclops. I hope he looks 90s Cyclops with like the yellow underwear and the blue and the belt.
Those four core X-Men from the first film, of course, the couple I've mentioned, the Storm I've mentioned, Cyclops you've mentioned, Wolverine, of course, and Jean Grey.
Yeah, Famke. So I ran into Famke last year in the village, and I told her you need to go into the MCU, and she gave me this look, and I'm taking it as she's been approached. Whether it happens or not, who knows? But Famke needs to return. No shade on Sophie Turner, no shade at all on Sophie Turner, but it needs to be Famke. That's it.
Those four from the four of the movie, at least the original, they need to be in it. Without a doubt. And I'm certain Patrick Stewart's going in it all day long.
My worry for Patrick Stewart, though, is, I mean, he's a man of a certain age. he obviously is always going to be Xavier, but like I think he lacked some kind of screen presence in Multiverse of Madness. I wasn't too happy with his screen presence, and I was just like, maybe McAvoy would have been better for this. But it is Peace Stew, so it's like, like I don't know how how you weigh it. But I agree with you. If we're gonna do this, you have to have Storm, Jean, Cyclops, and Professor X. You need to have those. Anyone else is going to be butter. It's just going to be beautiful butter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think we'll get them. I think I've seen a rumor again today, actually, that we might well have from whoever this one was, Fassbender's Magneto versus McKellen's Magneto. So how useful that would be, I don't know. It'd look cool. Why do we need it? I'm not sure. The Wanda thing's interesting overall. Do we really need to? No, I think she's such a big character and such a fan favourite, good, bad, or otherwise versions of her. Do we need her in there? That's a big distraction for me.
If we're going to touch base on Magneto, Ian McKellen, or Fassbender, I wouldn't mind if in the background they had Elizabeth Olsen, Aaron, or Evan, whoever, whichever Quicksilver you want. And I would take a step further, and Emma Dumont. I would love Emma Dumont there. I would love all three of his children behind him. So
yeah, brilliant as well. We've got this House of M plot mentioned, haven't we? It works. It ticks the boxes. It's a good idea. How multiversal are we going again, though? Do we want to see them jumping from one to another to another? Kinda. Much like you were saying about Doctor Strange, they fell through them all. It didn't work. I'd like to see them stop off in a time. Something. Quantum Leap, if you like. Quantum Leap with Wolverine and Deadpool. Solve the problem. Let's do the next one.
So let me dive into the rumored plot here, and we can dissect it a little bit for folks at home who aren't aware of the rumors circulating right now. So again, pinch of salt, grain of salt, however you take your salt, just take it, as salt. Deadpool is arrested by the TVA for time travel. As a penalty, he's given the job to eliminate a rogue timeline where Magneto, Ian McKellen, has taken over the world and subjected humanity House of M style. Owen Wilson gives Deadpool a handler to keep him out of trouble. Deadpool teams up with Wolverine of this world, where Xavier and the Fox X-Men have joined Magneto and basically killed everyone. There are other MCU characters, but very brief mentions mostly, like how Magneto's X-Men killed all the Avengers. Magneto can control the metal in Thor's hammer and has it, but it's mostly its own thing. From there, Deadpool and Wolverine kill everyone.
About perfect.
Listen, that's too fun. It's too good of a plot. I'm sorry. It's too good of a plot for it to actually be it.
Yeah, I think you're right there. There's too many gems there that you think, yes, this is it. But we can but hope, and I think a good element of it will be true. I think it's going to go down that line. He's definitely got a handler in it. That's fairly confidently happening with Matthew McFadden, supposedly as Paradox, they're calling him. Brand new name. I can't see anything much when I looked online. Can't see any research of any previous character called Paradox. So he's an incredible actor. I know that much. He would be good in that kind of role. Plus, I don't want Wolverine to be the handler anyway. I want Wolverine to be going wild in it, getting pissed off with Deadpool. And this bloke's trying to control them both for whatever reason to do their to rectify whatever it is Deadpool's caused ultimately.
Yeah, and Deadpool being one of those anomalies, like kind of, oh God, I forgot what they called them in the Loki series, those events, whatever they call, like when the timeline ruptures, and that he's one of those variants and stuff like that. I'm 100 makes perfect sense. The one thing that I have disliked significantly of the multiverse saga that the MCU has done under Michael Waldron's watch, and he's written most of it, so I don't understand why he never connected the dots, was they didn't connect any of the dots. What happened in Loki did not affect Multiverse of Madness. What happened in Multiverse of Madness didn't really affect Spider-Man, or vice versa. I'm sorry, Spider-Man came out first, but I was like, I was baffled by that they're not streamlining it. So it sounds like Deadpool 3 is going to fix that problem where it's going to bring all of the plots together. And that's why I would be excited to, if we're going to have the TVA, have Wanda as well. I agree. Don't let Elizabeth Olsen steal the show because she would. Wanda stands are crazy. But,
Yeah.
I think stream it all together. So that way, the only thing I'm going to say about the plot that I don't agree with is if they start killing everyone. I would imagine if I was Marvel, I would be signing on those actors for 2 films, for Deadpool 3 and Secret Wars. I would want you get James, Famke, and Holly back for those movies is what I would do.
Yeah, I agree. The killing thing, I also agree fairly strongly on that. I hope that bit, if that is the plot, is not true, because that is completely mocking what the X-Men are all about, ultimately. And it just doesn't need to be there. If we're having them finally, let's have them there properly, just to look at them and see them in all their glory, and not have them tainted with murdering the world, effectively. Let's leave that to Wolverine and Deadpool, the 2 best people at it, which is, Deadpool kills the Fox universe kind of thing. But with Wolverine tagging along, yeah, great. That's what we need. I mean, that's the essential bit for me, and I'm sure that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I really hope they can stick the landing for it. Again, I trust Ryan Reynolds. I love Deadpool 2. I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed Deadpool 1 as well. And Hugh Jackman, I mean, it's going to have to be a really terrible script. You know what I mean? For it not to work. And I think I was talking about this the other day with someone about Olivia Munn in X-Men Apocalypse. And she was given a terrible script for Psylocke, yet she was the best part of the movie. One of the best parts of the movie. All she had to do was be here. So Hugh Jackman is so charismatic. He's such a great actor that the script would have to be exceptionally terrible for it not to land. So I have faith in this.
I do. I can't see anything but just a phenomenal movie coming. I really can't. Sean Levy even. Stranger Things. Wow. Well, all the films he's done as well. He's the man for the job to control this, as he worded it, juggernaut of a movie, which is what I started with earlier. These 2 magnificent gods, he said, in a juggernaut of a movie. He gets it. He gets it straight away. Everyone else that's filling in, great, good bit of filler. But those 2 are going to carry this movie all the way through. It's going to be mega. I shouldn't be so excited as a grown man for a movie, but I am. And I know I'm not the...
You're not the only one.
It's just going to be brilliant. And that countdown that I'm doing every single day and chatting with anyone and everyone online every day, that's pure, genuine excitement for me. I can't wait to see it one way or another. Can't wait to see what's going to come out of it. It only did start filming last month. There was some bizarre rumor that quickly got deleted that it was nearly finished.
Yeah, I saw that.
Clearly not, because I have a friend actually who delivered to the set by pure chance, and there's nothing going on at all at that point because they were building the set. So really, obviously not. The set in Pinewood Studios here, of course, that is, because the other bits are going to be shot Canada, I believe.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that really irks me about the online rumors, and we talked about this already earlier in the episodes. Like, people are just saying things. There was this rumor. I talk about this all the time. I was a journalism major for my first 2 years of college, and there is a way to look at things, vet them, and before you report on it, which is what, we have that community. We've built a platform and a space. We have a responsibility to deliver curated news that is verified. But some people, I'm pretty sure, just wake up and just type whatever they want and make up stuff. And then I don't know which is worse, those people who write it or the other people who retweet it without no context. And the story I always use is that, like, they were saying that there was an actress who was going to appear at the end of the Marvels, and it was going to be Jean Grey. And it was like, and they said Variety is reporting on this. And it was, they gave the writer's name. But you Google that writer, and that Variety article does not exist. Like, the writer literally doesn't exist. And it's a quick Google search. And that's why I'm like, when I saw that, like, filming had wrapped up, I'm like, they did the entire movie in a month? They got all those cameos, everything. No, I'm sorry. Like that's a bullshit lie.
Do it for likes, clearly, don't they? I obviously I am posting daily. I look at anything and everything that pops up, but what I end up posting is generally still mostly what I think will, if there's some gumption to it and some sense to it, I will tweet and indeed post that on my Facebook and Instagram. And along the way, still the cool fan art. And that's ultimately still what it is. Somebody commented yesterday saying, well, we'll know the whole plot soon if you carry on. And I thought, it's just my opinion.
No, I think I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just laugh at it and carry on. It's just, yeah. We'll find out more and more as it goes on, of course, properly.
Right. And we love reporting on rumors too and talking about, but they are rumors. Take it with a grain of salt. And that's what you do really well. But I think, again, to say something as bold as filming has finished, you're like, come on. Like, where are you getting that from? But
the reply to that was, no, it hasn't. It only started. I'll put how at first.
it doesn't make any sense.
No sense. It hasn't. They're well on the way. Hugh Jackman was sat pigging out in Norwich, wasn't he, just over the weekend? So clearly he's still in the zone. He's enjoying himself. His beard's still grey for starters. His sideburns, if you like. So no, that's not finished filming. No way.
Okay, so I have two questions for you. Now, being purely just fans, like let's say we have a wand and we can make anything happen. My first question is there a version of Wolverine you would like to see in Deadpool 3? And I'm asking because is that an Art of Lucas shirt you're wearing?
Art of Lucas shirt, yes.
Yeah, and you have all the different Wolverines there. And for me, feral Wolverine from the Onslaught era, if I could get him, I would, oh my God, with the blue bandana and like the hair, I would love that. That would be a dream come true, however it works.
Yeah, but I liked it overall. I thought it was great. It's just different. I liked what they did with him. That was a big change for Wolverine over that period of time. And to end up like he did, very beast-like, of course, it just looked cool for me. Still one of my favourite Toy Biz figures, if I'm honest. It's massive. Big ogre Wolverine. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I doubt we'll see that. I'd quite happily welcome it. But
I agree. I doubt we're going to see it.
It's this. It has to be this. The tiger. I love the Tannenbaum too. I love the X-Force suit. I love Patch. I love the lot. I love Cowboy. But it has to be this. He has to look damn close to that. None of this big armoured versions and variants of it, like my cosplay. I've got some super cosplay versions of this, but they're big armoured ones. I don't need that. He doesn't need that. It's fucking Hugh Jackman. He's jacked. He looks the part. He could wear, as I said earlier, yellow spandex, and he would look cool as fuck. That's what we need.
I 100%. I'm glad I do agree. It needs to be the yellow-blue costume, as close to it as possible.
More iconic, in my opinion. As much as the tan and brown makes more sense, the reason I saw years ago, and I still like, why Wolverine wears this bright yellow suit is so that he attracts all the attention from all the bad guys, so that they all attack him, and therefore he's instantly protecting his friends.
I love that.
I love that reason. So why everyone always said, why would he wear yellow? He stands out. That's why.
Yeah, because he wants to protect those around him.
Correct, and he's got the power to do it.
And that's, it's funny. I want to ask my second question, but like just to pull on the thread you just said, that's what makes a good Wolverine, right? That he is part of the pack. He has a pack mentality, and he wants to protect the other people in his circle. And I love, and that's to me is always the key to writing a good Wolverine. It's just like the key to writing a good Emma Frost. Emma Frost isn't just bitchy. Emma Frost deeply cares about her students. That is what makes it. That's what makes these characters really great. What makes a great Jean Grey is that she's very caring, but she has a dark side, right? That's what makes these characters very interesting and very fleshed out. And I think some writers don't always get it, unfortunately.
Have you been reading? Just going slightly off course, Benjamin Percy's Wolverine at all?
I come in and out of it. I wait for it to be on Marvel Unlimited.
Right, fair enough, yeah. And then get a bunch of it, if you like, in one go. I like it. That one where him and Deadpool were together. there's a lot in that one issue that translates really brilliantly to what I'm expecting for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman to do together. Especially when he literally cuts him up to bits. Wolverine cuts Deadpool up to bits to chuck his to press a button on the wall because they're trapped behind bars. That's what.
I listen. I would love to listen. There's so many great Wolverine and Deadpool stories I would love to see happen and transpire. I love their dynamic in Rick Remender's X-Force as well. I'd also like to see Spider-Man come in because there's so many Tumblr, like Tom Holland, like has like a quick cameo. I don't know if Tom Holland would do it, but or if PlayStation, Sony would let him. Amy Pascal. It's all Amy Pascal. She has the upper. Amy Pascal's the one with the upper hand now. I cannot believe we live in a world where Amy Pascal has the upper hand over Kevin Feige. But wait. So the second question would be in that vein. If you could bring in any of the Fox X characters, who would you? And we want to do another episode where we kind of go through who we want to see. But like, is there one in particular that you want? Absolutely.
It's still strongly out of everyone. It has to be X-23. Has to be.
Has to be. And it has to be Daphne Keane who does it.
How that would work, obviously, timelines, etc. With this set before Logan, bit iffy, but hey, they've done worse.
Listen, they're such a mess with their timeline. Like, let them just wave their hand. And it's funny. Their timeline is such a mess that I couldn't even remember some things either when I was talking about it recently. Like, Wolverine Origins is officially wiped from canon, right? Because of Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so it is officially wiped. I couldn't remember that for whatever reason. I was trying to grasp on that the other day because they're all over the place with everything. So, you know what? However it works out, just wave the hand. Again, I think you can forgive things like a bad script or, not good continuity as long as the performances are great and you have, that chemistry and that magnetism online, but or on screen, excuse me. But let's see where it goes on that. But yes, I agree. Laura needs to be on it.
Because we've seen him with anyone and everyone else really enough. And we saw, obviously, old Wolverine and young Laura. I'd like to see that age gap meeting a bit more in the middle. So the dynamic is, again, how the comics have been for a long time. And X-Men Evolution was, where he's kind of with her along the way. And he's old enough to actually do something useful with her. But not too old. So, let's hope for her. Let's hope. I think we'll still see her in the future, if not in this.
I think it would be dumb not to follow up with her. She definitely just even if it's a fresh reboot of the character, she's of perfect age. She's 18. I just saw it online here. She's perfect for Laura. She's absolutely wonderful. I would like to. I would love Olivia Munn. I know I mentioned her earlier. I think she was a great Psylocke. Bring her back as Quan-In, and I would be over the moon to see her.
Yeah, she looks
in the movie, and so you have in theory, if you had her, you have Wolverine and you have Deadpool. You can do a little X-Force shout out there, even if it's just a quick multiverse thing.
I don't think we're going to get Cable. I think he'll get mentioned. But that's
I forgot about Cable.
I love Cable. I love Josh Brolin's Cable. He was brilliant.
Oh,
I don't think we're going to. He'll be in it right at the start, probably, with a little bit of filler, if you like, to start the film off. But that'll be it at very most. Sadly, it appears we're not going to get Domino. She was brilliant, but I say sadly, that's only because she was brilliant. She doesn't fit in this, in my opinion, either. So they don't need her. I am pretty damn chuffed. Rob Delaney's Peter is coming back because he's incredibly daft but brilliant. Obviously, we're getting Vanessa back, Blind Aldo Pinder, Stefan Kapacic, my buddy, Colossus.
Yeah.
That he's in it. He's there. He's that moral compass, isn't he, for Deadpool, and he needs to be there. And obviously, the one thing I know we've seen a Daniel Cudmore, Hugh Jackman version of it, but that one thing I want to see is that fastball special.
Oh, we have to see it. Really properly done. It was fine. Listen, I don't want to take away from that, but it could be it could have been better. You know,
It,
I'm thinking of the Danger Room scene in X3. Did they do it in Days of Future Past? I don't remember if they did a fastball special in Days of Future Past. I don't
no,
think
they
so.
didn't.
They did not. Yeah, because they arrived after the Sentinel, well, after they rebooted time. Yeah, I mean, we just needed we needed like an epic shot, and he needs to be Colossus needs to be larger than life for it to happen. And Hugh Jackman's a big guy.
Yeah, but he is bigger, isn't he? This Colossus,
Yeah,
the Deadpool.
yeah.
So I think we'll get it. I really do. I'll try tapping Stefan up along the way to see if he'll tell me, but I doubt it because he's good at his job.
Yeah, he's good at his job. It's yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else who was supposed to be rumored to be there. Vanessa, I've run into the actress before with her husband, who is of course Ryan Atwood on the OC. And I gave her my phone and I was like, "Can you take a photo of me and your husband? Thank you." So I'm really, really sorry to Morena, right? That's how you say her name, Morena. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
She's
sorry. She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's a gorgeous girl.
just a Jim Gordon fan then too much clearly that night.
I know. Oh my God. Ben McKenzie from 90210. I mean, excuse me, the OC, just 100% there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really good, fun movie. We know also Louis Tan, who was Shatterstar, kind of gave a little wink, wink, nod on Twitter that he may be popping up.
I kind of think he was more hoping than anything, but yeah, who knows? Because he was good and he deserved better. Ultimately, you know, Shatterstar's such a cool, again, iconic '90s character. Really, I'd like to see him back in it. I don't think we will though. The other two that are definitely confirmed: Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Brianna again, and the Deadpool version of Yukio. Not my beloved Reela. You know, I loved her in the Wolverine. She was phenomenal. Can't remember this lady's name. I think I wrote it down here. She
It's
had a Yoli Katsuna.
yeah, I mean,
So
I'm horrible at pronunciations, but yes, I'm seeing her IMDb now.
I like. Obviously, they were good together. They were quite, amusing in Deadpool 2. So it's
Yeah,
right that they're decent characters. I would be interested to see if Wolverine crosses paths with that Yukio in that any kind of vague way in that, based on his Yukio, if you like, from the Wolverine.
But that
Um,
Yukio was so beautiful because I loved how she's here, like I see you dying, you're on your back, you're holding your own heart in your hand, and obviously that's a thread that plays out in Logan. So like it's fine. Like I just don't want to. I don't want to take away from how great the Wolverine interpretation of. They're both great interpretations, right? Really phenomenal interpretation, but radically different. Like radically different. So let's see where they go with it.
yeah, I agree. But that is all that's confirmed. Ultimately, those characters, despite all these many rumors, and they're not going to give anything else away. I don't think character-wise till much nearer the time. Rumor, which makes much more sense, is they're aiming to have it done by the end of September. Yeah, it's still a little optimistic. Maybe aiming to finish bits in the UK by then or something like that. But it'll still be being tweaked right to the very last minute. All the
Yeah.
way up to May. Why would they finish in September? Really, that's a long time between then and May.
But it also like makes me really nervous. Like, are they going to be able to make that May deadline? Because I mean, the VFX and stuff like that are going to be intense. I don't know. Like, I don't know why in my head, I don't think the Deadpool movies have been of the larger scope, like Deadpool, excuse me, like Endgame and stuff like that, that they probably need a year to do VFX. It makes me nervous that they would, in theory, they have less than a year to do all the VFX. I don't know if maybe I'm thinking like, with the exception of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, there's not much like post CGI, but I don't know. Fingers crossed. Oh, the one thing that a lot of people have been talking about, and I want your opinion on this, is that because of the writer's strike, they can't change the script, right? So can we? The big thing now is that Ryan Reynolds wears a cowl, so Ryan Reynolds can ad lib post strike while they're doing the VFX.
Yeah, interesting. I can't see how it's going to make any difference. If he says something that's arguably better while they're filming it and it's captured on camera, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
I don't get how the writers thing stops it. Realistically, that aside, you'd think they've got this script pretty nailed down. There's plenty of footage and feedback from fans online. There's plenty of previous interactions with Wolverine and Deadpool that they can pull from. So you'd think they'd have it pretty nailed down anyway, near enough word for word. And yeah, while he is good at ad-libbing, I think we'll be all right.
I agree. Listen, this is just stuff that people are worried about because the internet needs to be nervous. The internet can't just accept a good thing when it happens.
Yes. Yeah, right.
We've talked about this endlessly. The internet is a shady place, sadly. But I cannot believe we have literally covered everything about a movie that has not come out yet. And I feel like we're still missing things. Did we get everything?
There is more. God, what is there? I mean, there is so many rumors, and that's ultimately what they are, isn't it? And it's what people want to put out there to try and manipulate, if you like, to make happen. But if that script's set in stone, as we just covered there, then it'll stay as it is anyway.
I hope it's a good script. I think they have wonderful actors. Bring in as many cameos as you need. I'm curious, who they've signed on, how many movies they've signed them on for, stuff like that. I will say though, and maybe we can end this here. Do you want this to be a proper goodbye to the Fox X-Men and then get a fresh reboot of the X-Men and Wolverine in the MCU, or would you like to see some people carried over, like we talked about Daphne? Like for me, Daphne would be sign her for 20 pictures because she would be great. But do you want Hugh Jackman to remain, or do you think we should get a new Wolverine?
Talk of obviously multiple Hugh Jackman Wolverines even in this movie, the one bit we didn't mention. So if that covers all bases for what we've missed out on, which isn't a lot, he's covered it all pretty well over the 20 years or 17 years. If we get enough of what we're all craving in this one, I would only like to see him back once more, ultimately, in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And then it, purely because Wolverine doesn't age, and we all age. So it needs to have a fresh reboot for me, for him and most of the Foxverse, with the exception of Daphne Keane. I quite like Fassbender's Magneto, if I'm honest, and I could see him carrying on.
Agreed.
But they're not going to one or two of them, I don't think. If they do it, they'll cut ties with a lot.
I think my gut tells me it needs to be a strong reboot. Like maybe you can bring in some other actors, like you can get away with some, but not all. But like we see what a disaster it is for DC right now, that they're kind of doing like a soft reboot, and it's like that's not working for them. I mean, The Flash is going to be, I just saw the headline, The Flash is going to be like the first movie in 100 years to be a significant financial bomb for Warner Brothers, and we can't have that.
No, I agree, and it has to be a full reboot, but not in this movie.
No, not in this movie. Keep them. I want them all back.
Yeah, Secret Wars ultimately.
Yeah, Secret Wars. Let there be an amalgamation at the end. Listen. I'm not a writer. Kevin Feige, you can hire us, and we'll give you the ideas. But I would like at the end of Secret Wars that the mutants are officially in the MCU, however that takes form or shape. But it's kind of, I think that the problem that the MCU is having right now, they should not have done the multiverse saga. I think they should have done a proper goodbye to the Fox X-Men somehow, and then kicked off the mutant age in the MCU. And that's what I would have done. And I think a lot of these movies are tanking because people want to see Wolverine. They want to see the X-Men in the MCU proper now. And I think no one wants to, be diddle-daddling.
I think back to where we started very neatly. I think that's why they've brought this forward, because people clearly want it and they want it now, and this movie will give them it and let us all sit happily, smug, smiling at it for many, many years to come while they sow the seeds for the next big saga, starting with the Fantastic Four. God, I can't wait to see Doctor Doom, personally. Proper Doctor Doom.
Oh, I know. And there's a rumor that Vanessa Kirby is going to be Sue Storm, and that's my top choice for Sue. No offense to Margot Robbie. I'm sure she'll be great as Barbie. Obviously, she was iconic as Harley, but doesn't jive as Sue for me. It has to be someone a little bit more unknown, like Vanessa Kirby.
I said this before. I said this when we spoke about recasting Wolverine. it has to be an unknown. It let somebody fill those boots with ultimately, yes, pressure, but no pressure of coming into it as a big star. Otherwise, just let them come in and do their own fresh take on it. And I agree with that. I really don't want an Adam Driver Mr. Fantastic, if I'm honest. But it looks like we might be getting it for those rumours. But yeah, I'm all for throwing relative strangers, if you like, into these roles. And with that X-Men reboot, do the lot. Get as much as I love them, and I really do. It needs a proper fresh reboot in 5, 6, 7 years, whenever it's coming. With the exception of X-23, Daphne King still, because she's young enough.
Yeah, I agree. She's young enough. Keep her there. And like, no offense to like Sophie Turner and Ty Sheridan, I just don't. Fresh cast. Bring in a fresh cast. Make them, give me what the X-Men would be in today's world, kind of like they did with Spider-Man. I think one of the most brilliant things they did was make Aunt May younger. We give it to Marissa Tomei because she wouldn't be a geriatric if she is a sibling of Peter's parents. I forget. It's Ben's brother's wife. I think that's connection. I think that's how May and him are related. Anyways, whatever. Who cares? She wouldn't be 30 years older than presumably. So I think that was a nice touch. And living in Queens, what does Queens look like in today's world? And I think they nailed it. So I want that for the X-Men.
Things changed. These characters have evolved a lot themselves over the last 60 years in the comics, in the cartoons. So why not just do that again in the movies? It's just go for that fresh reboot. And I think that's what we'll get, realistically. I think this film and the forthcoming Secret Wars will probably seal the deal in a much better way than The Flash clearly did.
Yeah. Well, I think for sure, to end our conversation, I think it's safe to assume we're going to have Fox X-Men in Deadpool 3, whether it's Channing Tatum or Famke Johnson, who knows? I think everyone, the door's open for anyone and everyone to come in, and they will carry through to Secret Wars. But I think Secret Wars will be the end of the Fox X-Men, and we'll get a hard reboot of these characters, is what I hope they do. And I hope Marvel does have their ear to the ground on that. Like, create a proper mutant age in the MCU and start building the X-Men, but let us say goodbye to the Fox X-Men properly. Although, again, I don't think Days of Future Past was terrible. I didn't hate Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I love that film. I think it's amazing.
It was a really good movie. And that at the time, 10 years ago, was a proper send-off. But now it's like, we need one more goodbye. Just one more goodbye.
What is the costumes properly for more than a little peek? That's still it. That, again, back to where we started. That's what we need to end on nicely. Give them their versions of it. Go from there.
Well, Steve, what do you have coming up? Tell us. What are you going to any conventions? Anything exciting? I love your Twitter presence. Anything you're working on?
I've got nothing planned, realistically. I am ear to the ground for this movie solely. Keeping any tidbits out for future Wolverine cosplay, of course, to add to my many for whatever suit that we're going to get in this film. So that is it currently. I am certainly penciling in some Comic Cons, but obviously got this house move that you know of happening, so that's tying me up slightly. But yeah, I'll be out there somewhere, I'm sure, before the year's out. There's Manchester Comic Con coming up. There's two big ones on the same weekend in Manchester. And I know my Jean Grey wants me to go, so we'll see how that works.
I love your Jean Grey so much.
Yeah, Lisa Jane cosplay.
All right. And you are, of course, Wolver Steve on Instagram and Twitter. Hit up Wolver Steve Familia and let him know your thoughts on Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman, anything and everything Wolverine. And I'm going to DM Art of Lucas right now because I want that shirt so badly.
That's a good one.
All right, Familia. We'll see you next time.